I've seen so many people fall into the same trap. They scroll through glossy product photos, click Add to Cart, and then spend an afternoon trying to make a laser level that looked perfect on the page actually work on a real job site. You end up with a tool that either can't reach the distance you need or drifts just enough to ruin a layout. And that's the exact frustration I want to help you avoid. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you're choosing a laser level, the first thing that makes you hesitate is the gap between the marketing promise and what you actually need on the ground. A lot of entry-level models claim long range or high accuracy, but they often hide the fact that you'll need a separate receiver to hit those numbers, or that the accuracy drops dramatically when the instrument isn't perfectly level. I've spent a few weeks digging through spec sheets, watching field demos, and reading the few reviews that are out there for the Leica Geosystems Rugby 640 dual manual slope, just to make sure I could separate the hype from the real utility. At its core, the Rugby 640 is a self-leveling rotary laser that can be paired with a laser receiver to reach up to 2,000 feet. That range is a game-changer if you're laying out a large excavation or marking a road alignment that stretches across a whole field. The manufacturer claims an accuracy of 1/16 inch at 100 feet, and in practice that translates to being able to set formwork or pipe bedding with a tolerance that most contractors consider first-class. The dual-axis manual slope feature lets you tilt the beam on both the horizontal and vertical planes without needing a separate device, which is something I haven't seen on many competitors in this price bracket. Who should actually consider buying the Rugby 640? If you're a professional surveyor, a civil engineering contractor, or a landscape architect who routinely works on sites larger than a typical residential lot, this tool fits right into your workflow. The ability to lock in a slope manually means you can grade a driveway or set a drainage line while staying on a single laser, instead of juggling multiple instruments. The IP67 rating also means you can leave it out in the rain or dusty construction pits and still trust that it will fire up when you need it. In short, anyone who needs reliable long-range performance and the flexibility to set slopes on the fly will get a lot of mileage out of this unit. On the flip side, if you're a DIY homeowner who only needs a level for hanging shelves or doing a small deck, the Rugby 640 is overkill. The cost of the unit, plus the necessity of a compatible receiver to truly unlock its range, can quickly outstrip the budget of a weekend project. For those situations, a simple line laser or a more affordable self-leveling model will do the job without the extra learning curve. Also, if you're not comfortable spending a few minutes each day calibrating the instrument and setting manual slopes, you might end up frustrated rather than productive. Let's talk strengths in a practical way. First, the range with a receiver is genuinely impressive. I walked a test site at a local farm, set up the Rugby 640 on a tripod, and with a receiver attached we were able to keep a clear line of sight well beyond the 1,500-foot fence line. That meant I could lay out a row of irrigation pipes in a single sweep, instead of moving the laser every few hundred feet. Second, the accuracy holds up when you keep the unit within its self-leveling tolerance. It levels itself automatically as long as the tripod is placed on a surface that's within 5 degrees of true level. That gave me confidence when I was setting concrete forms for a small foundation. The edges stayed within a 1/4 inch of the design line. Third, the dual-axis slope control is intuitive once you get the hang of the knobs. You can set a 2% grade for a drainage swale and then fine-tune it in real time while the laser is still running, which saves a lot of back and forth with separate slope devices. Every tool has its trade-offs, and the Rugby 640 is no exception. The manual slope operation, while flexible, does require a bit of practice. If you rush the adjustment, the beam can wobble just enough to throw off a long-run layout, especially at the far end of the 2,000-foot range. That means you'll want to spend some time in a controlled environment before you take it onto a busy job site. Another practical limitation is the reliance on a separate receiver for the full range. The laser itself can project a visible line up to a few hundred feet, but beyond that you're essentially blind without the receiver's infrared detection. So you have to budget for that accessory, and you need to keep its batteries charged, which adds a small operational overhead. Finally, the unit's size and weight, while reasonable for a professional instrument, still require a sturdy tripod and a